For the past 3 years, Baba Ramdev with his Ayurveda and the Indian Medical Association with its allopathy have been at loggerheads. It all started when the Baba launched his self-proclaimed anti-COVID coronal in the presence of BJP bigwigs.
Hooray! We got the Ayush Ministry certificate as per WHO scheme,
which infuriated the IMA so much that they lashed out.
World Health Organization certification is a lie. How can Ayurveda treat COVID?
Ramdev didn't respond for a few months, but then came out all guns blazing in a viral video.
Allopathy is stupid, expensive and bankrupt science.
Making IMA so aghast that they sent a legal notice to silence Ramdev.
If you don't apologize within 15 days, we will file a 1,000 crore suit against you.
But the threat didn't scare him one bit, as he published an ad against allopathy claiming that Patanjali medicines had cured people of deadly diseases. That was it, as IMA went ahead with their threat and dragged Ramdev to the Supreme Court, where Patanjali surprisingly apologized.
We will not put out any more casual statements against any medicines or our own products.
Which melted the court as it let off Ramdev with just a warning, and it finally seemed that the fight would end. However, the very next day, Patanjali's managing director Acharya Balakrishna and Ramdev publicly went back on their words.
Conspiracy by the pharma mafia. We have 3,000 cases of clinical evidence that our drugs work.
Words which came back to bite them when the Chief Justice of India and 2 judges of the Supreme Court received anonymous letters against Ramdev's misleading ads 2 months later. IMA's counsel at a hearing showed judges the transcript of Ramdev and Balakrishna's infamous press conference as well, which led a 2-judge bench to start suo motu contempt proceedings against Patanjali, meaning on their own without an official case being filed.
The country is being taken for a ride.
And the government is sitting with its eyes shut.
After ignoring summons for 20 days, a shaken Balakrishna finally apologized to the court. But this time, the court wasn't satisfied with a mere apology.
It seems just like lip service.
Wary of heavy-handed court action, Patanjali came out with a novel idea of posting a small apology in 67 newspapers of various languages.
I am sorry, Babu.
But the court was unimpressed with their tiny ads and whacked them.
Is your public apology as big as your advertisements?
Patanjali had no choice but to come up with a second round of half-page apologies in over 300 newspapers, even including Ramdev's name in it to satisfy the court, becoming for the Baba the biggest dent in his and his company's carefully crafted public image. As for the past 2 decades, many have grown up admiring Ramdev in saffron robes, teaching yoga to hundreds of devotees in his plush ashram. In his maverick way, promising to cure a bewildering number of diseases just by breath control.
Sab theek karega re tera Baba.
Blaring from TV sets in the morning.
I am the first Baba to simplify yoga for your busy lifestyle.
The Pied Piper Yogi captivated the common person so much that they would crazily follow him in rubbing their fingernails in a bid to help their hair grow. The ever-smiling Baba even had the perfect and attractive belly-churning moves, the Nauli Kriya. So who can blame him for his cult status? Though the sannyasi Yogi also has his share of materialistic fun, going on long drives in his Land Rover Defender 130 SUV worth 1.4 crore and also reportedly chilling in the company of his other big fancy cars. And why not if he can afford it? Baba is estimated to be worth 1,600 crore on the basis of his alleged indirect ownership in the Patanjali group, whose army of products is now successfully taking on the might of big multinational corporations right in the drawing rooms of India's middle class. 22-year-old Ramdev, then Ram Kishan Yadav's journey, started in 1987 in Haryana's Mahendragarh, where he left home to start a new life in Arsh Gurukul in nearby Kanpur. There is where the determined youngster studied, and it is here where he met and formed a bond with Balakrishna, who continues to be his right-hand man till this day. 2 years later, Ramdev and Balakrishna learnt a high level of yoga and Sanskrit in another ashram in Haryana's Jhajjar. Then 4 years later at Haridwar's Kankhal temple, both finally undertook sannyas diksha, renunciation, under Guru Shankar Dev, in whose Kripalu Bagh ashram, Ramdev first learned to make plant-based medicines from Karamveer, who was his senior there. The young yogi was ambitious and with his 2 musketeers, Balakrishna and Karamveer, established the Divya Yoga Trust in 1995. For the next few years, they would go around the area on bicycles, selling their ashram-made Ayurvedic medicines. By the year 2000, Ramdev and Karamveer graduated to organizing free yoga camps for the local population, in which local police, politicians and district administration officials participated, and it is from here that Ramdev developed the knack of befriending the powers that be. But what turned his fortunes was when Astha TV's EP spotted him during one of the camps. He's the only yoga guru I've seen in saffron robes. Audience would love a sannyasi. Unfortunately, the channel head wasn't convinced.
No way. No one outside Haridwar knows him.
However, Ramdev got a whiff of this rejection, and though disappointed, the chance to get on TV really got him excited.
Public will love me and my yoga.
He then learned how these spiritual channels were minting money by auctioning their airtime to the highest bidder gurus or godmen. And so the wily Baba went to negotiate with Astha's rival Sanskar to bet on him.
I can't pay 1.5 lakhs for your 20-minute slot, but give me a chance. I promise I will make money and pay you back.
There was no looking back for both, as the live telecast of Ramdev's yoga shivers were a huge hit, making Sanskar's TRPs immediately shoot through the roof. The smart Baba started minting money by peddling his cures. Donate to the Baba to remain forever young and even cure cancers. Going to the extent of claiming, believe me, I cured my partial body paralysis with yoga and Ayurveda. And impressionable minds would donate in lakhs and lakhs during the live shivers, which helped him pay back the Sanskar channel. Stunned by his meteoric rise, Astha TV poached him to their platform, and Ramdev was happy to oblige the higher bidder. TV helped his stardom reach even abroad, as NRIs started pouring in to learn yoga and connect with their Indian roots. A couple of years later, after he helped a rich NRI couple lose weight through yoga, they were impressed enough to loan the Baba a whopping 50 to 60 crore, $8 million, even donating Scotland's Little Cumbrae Island to him a few years later, though this time in lieu of getting a 3% stake in Patanjali and trustee membership in UK's Patanjali Trust. 2006 became a landmark year for Ramdev, as he used part of the money to start the massive Patanjali Yogpith Ashram, where many would shell out thousands of bucks to stay there for week-long yoga courses, adding another revenue stream for the Baba. Part of the funds he used to lay the foundation of Patanjali Ayurveda, with Balkrishna as the backroom CEO with 94% ownership and Ramdev as its public face. In Baba's business, it is best for Baba to remain detached from the assets, and went on to gobble his employer Astha TV for 16 crore, the same Astha TV that had poached him from Sanskar. Today, Baba is a decently successful media mogul, having acquired many channels in the devotional category. But all this success over a decade came with its own share of controversies, as Ramdev reportedly disassociated his other-eyed Karamveer from the trust. Money has changed you. Then Swami Yogananda, a senior yogi and Ayurvedic doctor who had snatched back the Ayurvedic medicine license he had given to Ramdev, greedy Baba, was found mysteriously murdered in his own home a year later, and the whispers alleged that Baba Ramdev could be embroiled. A section of Haridwar saints also blame Ramdev for the mysterious disappearance of Shankardev, the guru under whom he took Diksha. Allegations are that he also usurped land and ashram from him through cunning ways. But Ramdev defends himself. My guru gifted me these to help me in my business. His biggest controversy before the current Supreme Court one happened after he joined hands with social activist Rajiv Dixit to launch a tirade against Coke, Pepsi and other foreign brands in 2008. However, it is believed that Ramdev soon got jealous of Dixit getting all the public and media limelight. But Dixit mysteriously died of a heart attack in a locked bathroom of a guest house during an event, and his body was cremated without a post-mortem, leaving only allegations behind. Then hopped on to become the sole leader of the Swadeshi campaign against foreign brands. Soon after, Ramdev joined the Anna Hazare movement, giving him more fame as one of the national icons who shouted their lungs out against corruption. Though how can one forget, when the police cracked down on his rally at the Ramlila ground, Ramdev fled the spot disguised in woman's attire. Police are out to kill me. All this while his businesses flourished, as his yoga shivers on TV, the Swadeshi icon status, and the newly opened Patanjali stores helped him in organically marketing his brand. So much so that he started gaining minor, though significant market shares in shampoos, toothpaste, face washes, dishwashers and honey products. While Colgate, after 80 years of business in India, could only gross 4,000 crore in 2016, Patanjali's Dant Kanti grossed 900 crore in less than 10 years in the business. To compete with the big boys in the FMCG field, he started advertising as well, becoming the third largest TV advertiser in the FMCG sector, taking a NMC like Nestle head-on by having the guts to launch instant noodles to compete with Maggi. Zooming far ahead of the Swiss multinational with annual revenues of 31,700 crore compared to Nestle's 19,000. But unlike Maggi, who were heavily chastised for the extra monosodium glutamate in their noodles, Patanjali noodles were not pulled up despite their ash content being 3 times over the allowed limit, even higher than Maggi. There were also regular complaints about Patanjali products being substandard, like Amla juice, which was pulled out of Ministry of Defence canteen stores. Even as recently as 2024, the Uttarakhand government suspended license of 14 of their products. Questions were also raised on their shady ways of amassing 600 bighas of land in Haridwar that actually belonged to Dalits. Dalits cannot sell their land outside their community, but the wily fox allegedly asked them to donate their land, for which he secretly paid them off the books. Finally, karma began catching up in 2013 when Uttarakhand's Congress government slammed 81 cases against his trust for multiple land violations. However, his luck was awesome when Modi won elections the following year and began vibing together on yoga and Ayurveda. Modi got Ramdev's massive base as his voters, and in return, the Baba's company reportedly got $46 million in discounts for acquiring hundreds of acres of land in BJP-ruled states, 630 acres of land for manufacturing Ayurvedic products in Maharashtra, 150-acre herbal and mega food park in Uttarakhand, 425 acres for Patanjali Food Park along the Yamuna Expressway in UP, and 123 acres to manufacture Ayurvedic medicines in Haryana's ecologically sensitive Aravali forest land. Ramdev reportedly also created a tax-exempt charity, Yogaksham Sansthan, in which his aides used to park money and make taxable investments worth tens of crores, and retaining its tax-free status despite not doing its stated charitable purposes, that is promoting yoga and Ayurveda amongst the poor. However, trouble was brewing in Baba's Ayurvedic business. Patanjali Ayurved sales had stagnated for the first time ever, declining 11% in FY18. For example, his Dant Kanti toothpaste had dropped to an average 9% market share from a high in the low teens. In realization of this, Ramdev set his sights on the agribusiness company Ruchi Soya, a listed company with a basket of FMCG products, most prominent edible oils and soya bean, that had gone into insolvency in 2017 with debts of over 12,000 crore, $1.65 billion. When Ruchi went under the hammer in 2019, Ramdev surprisingly outbid Big Daddy Adani, who withdrew from the auction at the last minute. And it was those very nationalized banks to whom Ruchi owed 9,000 crore who ironically loaned Patanjali to help it make a bid of 4,350 crore. Buying Ruchi Soya saved Ramdev, as their edible oil business forms 70% of Patanjali's Foods' 31,700 crore revenue, with hardly any growth in Patanjali's original portfolio. However, the Florida-based Rajiv Jain's GQG partner still believes Patanjali will be the biggest FMCG brand in the world, and picked up an additional 5.5% stake in Patanjali Foods, taking his total stake to 11.5%. Rajiv Jain of GQG is the same person who bought Adani stocks after Hindenburg's report, giving the Indian stock market confidence in the Adani portfolio. Last year, the Patanjali Group was India's third largest FMCG company. Will it work the same magic here, as Ramdev plans to become number one and grow his company turnover to 1 lakh crore by 2028? But before that, he needed to safeguard his FMCG business from court orders. So he bought Patanjali Ayurved's portfolio of home and personal care products into his listed Patanjali Foods. Because the Supreme Court has put strictures on misleading advertising with regard to his Ayurveda products. So if Baba Ramdev was to bet his life on his words, were he to get a heart attack, would he go for a bypass or trust his Ayurvedic medicines to cure him? BISBO's limerick. There was a yoga master called Ramdev, whose medicines would cure you from the grave. But the court was aghast and strictures it passed, forcing the maverick genius to behave. You will also find these sources listed in our video description section.